Welcome everybody to our Chocolatey Coffee Break live stream for March. We run 2 live streams every month on the 1st and 3rd Thursday, and this is our Community Coffee Break live stream on the 3rd Thursday of each month, where we discuss the Chocolatey community, what's happening, how you can get involved, and talk to key community members and the Chocolatey team. Our live stream on the 1st Thursday of each month is the Chocolatey Product Spotlight, where we spotlight Chocolatey products, recent releases, important features, that kind of thing. So it gives you an idea of what's happening with Chocolatey products and allows us to take you through those, give you a demo of some of the features and highlight important parts of what we've released. In the previous community live stream, I was interviewed as a long-term community member and community moderator by Gary Park. This week, we're going to speak to Stephanie Hayes, a recent member of the Chocolatey community, but a long-term member of the Chocolatey team. So my name is Paul Broadwith, and I'm the Technical Engineering Manager here at Chocolatey Software. I lead the engineering team that's responsible for the Chocolatey products you all use today. And normally on our community coffee break live streams, I'd be joined by my ever-suffering co-host, Gary Park, but Gary couldn't be here today. So James Ruskin will be filling those large shoes. James, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm James Ruskin. I'm from Cambridge in the UK, and I work at Chocolatey as a DevOps engineer.
Thanks, James. So both myself and James will be chatting to Stephanie today, but we're not going to ask her to introduce herself just yet. Before we start, we're building our community here on YouTube and on Twitch, so please follow us on Twitch and subscribe with the bell on YouTube. That means you'll get notifications when we stream. Make sure you like the video on YouTube as well, as that helps us to get our content out to others. So, as I mentioned, myself and James are going to be chatting with Stephanie today. So let's jump straight into the questions. And obviously the first question will be, tell us a bit about yourself, Stephanie. Where do you come from? What do you do?
Well, I am Stephanie Hayes, as you mentioned. I am from Wichita, Kansas. Right now, kind of outside of a little suburb of there. So, yeah, still around the same area though. And I've been in the tech industry professionally for about 9 years now, although I've kind of always had an interest in it even before that. And I am the senior software engineer here, focusing mostly on the front end design aspects and developing those ideas. Oh, in addition, I do have 2 crazy kids, one of which is on spring break, so it's been a lot of fun, but they keep me busy as well.
Cool. Thanks, Steph. James, do you want to pick up on the next week? If anybody's not seen this before, myself and my co-host will jump between questions. So James, you can pick up the next question.
Sure. So Steph, tell us about how you got into software development. It's a big question.
Depends on how far back you want me to go. So I would say I've always kind of had an interest in software development, whether I kind of realized that at the time or not. I would say my first kind of experience, this was actually brought up the other day, but my first experience with software development and whatnot would probably come back to the days of Zynga. And I don't know if anyone here has heard of that, but that was a social blogging platform at the time, and it was around like the early 2000s, I would say. And I thought it was really cool because you could get in there and you could edit the CSS, and you could change the HTML, and you could like play background music on it and stuff. And I thought that was really cool. And I guess at the time I didn't realize that that was, something of interest, but I had a lot of fun with that. And then throughout my career, I've kind of started various personal businesses. I had a photography business for a while. I had a personal training business for a while. That I am very much not a personal trainer anymore, just saying. And I think the aspects of that I enjoyed the most was actually making the websites and making the designs behind it and getting that all up off the ground. And I think that's kind of where my interest sparked. I would say there was kind of a turning point where I decided to do it professionally. And at the time, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had just had my son, Adrian, and this was about 10 years ago. And I felt like I didn't want to stay home anymore. I'm very career driven and passionate about different things, and being a stay-at-home mom just wasn't cut out for me. Hats off to stay-at-home parents, because it is definitely a hard job. But I decided that wasn't for me, and my husband was like, "Hey, why don't you start learning coding? Why don't you look into that more?" I'm like, "You know what? That's a great idea. I've always kind of been interested in that, and it's something I never took the time to learn." So I chose at that moment that I was going to start learning it, and I did about 6 months or so of really hardcore learning, because I was home. So I spent all my free time in the evenings and in the mornings, or whenever I wasn't taking care of my son, studying. I took a lot of courses on Treehouse and some Udemy courses, but it was mostly on Treehouse, which is kind of an online learning course. And I really studied hard for about 7 months. And after that, I got into my first position, where I was working as a front-end developer, kind of doing some design stuff, and also a marketing assistant. So I was kind of a jack of all trades at that place. But it was definitely my first kind of step in the door to tech and software development. And yeah, I'd say that's kind of, it took off from there. I've ever since then, I've continued learning, and I've learned so much these last few years. And I look forward to keep learning.
What was the name of the microblogging platform you mentioned?
Zynga. It's
Zynga.
Xanga, and it's not even online anymore. They took it down, unfortunately.
That's
But
what I was exactly
yeah,
what I was going to go and do.
I did actually find my old profile on Wayback Machine, which I am not going to share because it's quite embarrassing. So
Because I've seen some
Good
stuff
luck.
from my past, and I'm hiding that stuff. It's getting buried. Never is it coming up.
Burn it with fire.
Good move.
Zynga, there was also MySpace. I think they kind of let you do that as well to an extent, but I don't think it was as modular as Zynga was at the time.
I'd heard of MySpace, but never Zynga. That's a new one.
Yeah, neither was Gary. So Stevie is very familiar with Zynga, though, apparently.
Okay, maybe it was a kind of US type thing. But one of the things I was going to ask is, I mean, when we've been doing these, we've not done a huge number of them, but the things that I hear don't really surprise me, because you know the person generally when you're chatting to them. I never knew you were a personal trainer. This
Yep.
is, and I'm not saying that it surprised me that you were a personal trainer. And I didn't know you were a personal trainer. That was
for about
okay.
2 years. I took it up before I had my son, and then after I had my son, I continued it for a while. I did specialized in prenatal care for women, and I did workout classes where women could bring their kids with them. So, but I don't think that career really suited me. I'm not a very extroverted person, and that required to be very extroverted, and I don't know, I don't know. It was my interest at the time, but not really anymore. So.
Well, no, it is really interesting. As I said, it's just not something I'd thought about. Cool. So, I mean, you've been in software development. You said you picked up that previous role where you were a sort of marketing assistant, sort of wearing many hats, which kind of works really well with Chocolatey, because we all wear many hats here at Chocolate. We all do a lot of things. Being a small company and having a kind of big presence, we've all got lots and lots of different hats to wear, lots and lots of different things that we all do. But talking about Chocolatey, when did you come across Chocolatey software, and how did it happen? So maybe not specifically the Chocolatey software like Chocolatey CLI, Chocolatey software, the company. Did you come across this?
Well, to be honest, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, is I landed my first job in tech. And I was in that position for a few years, and after a while, I felt like I wasn't learning anything anymore, and I couldn't see myself continuing on a path that kind of was stagnant. I'm very career driven, like I mentioned, and I want to learn more, and continue growing. And so I started seeking out other opportunities, and I guess I heard through a mutual contact that Chocolatey was looking for a front end person. I was like, oh, that sounds like a cool company. I mean, Chocolatey, that's a cool name. So from there I started looking into it, and I visited the website. I could see that it needed a lot of help. I think at the time it was all brown, and
The beige period that we had.
yeah, it was beige and brown, and I think half of it was kind of redesigned. Like the homepage was a little bit redesigned, but the repository wasn't. So it was two different things. And yeah, from there it was kind of history. I was fortunate enough to join Chocolatey, and I hope that I have improved it a little bit.
Well, I think, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, James, but I think you've removed all the beige on the website, and I think you know what my view is on the beige, so that's certainly an improvement. But I'd imagine when you've seen the website, when you're kind of looking, you're thinking, well, this is a job for life, because this website needs major overhaul work. So yeah, it's completely different. I don't know if anybody wants to see the old Chocolate website. If you go onto the Wayback Machine, there's lots of beige examples.
I was going to suggest it, but then I got a ping saying bury it. And
okay, don't go onto the Wayback Machine. That's terrible. No, you'll find it all on there, and you'll see the differences between then and now. It's as we say, night and day. But as we have a light and dark theme, that would have been a pun, and that's not what I meant. But it is completely different. I think that before you arrived, Steph, everybody that worked at Chocolatey Software were technical people, were not people with any artistic or talent in that area whatsoever, and that was abundantly clear from the website itself. I think you're number 3, you're the third employee at Chocolatey Software.
Yeah, and when I joined, it was just you, Paul, and Gary.
Yeah,
and then Rob, of course. Yeah, it's been exciting over the years, seeing our growth, success, and seeing new other members join in. It's definitely been a great time.
Yeah, and you are responsible for all of the changes to the website, so and CCM as well, and other aspects behind the scenes. Cool. James, you want to?
Well, I think this is probably where this would normally branch into. So tell us more about your involvement in the Chocolatey community and moderation and whatnot, because that seems to have been a lot of the interviews. But in this case, have you been involved in the Chocolatey community, and how?
To be honest, I'm not very involved with the community itself. I mean, I am in ways where I contribute to definitely improving the package page, and helping and things like package differ and script builder. Those are things that definitely help out maintainers and users to enable them to bulk install packages. So I feel like I'm a little bit more behind the scenes when it comes to the community, but I definitely do keep an eye on our Discord, and if there's anybody mentioning things about front end stuff or suggestions, I definitely take those to heart and look at those and try to improve on them.
So,
I mean, you mentioned
there's no.
Sorry. No, on you go, James.
I was just going to say, there's nobody in the community who doesn't see everything, all of your work every single day. So,
right.
However often they want to check in, anyway.
Yeah. You mentioned script builder there. Do you want to talk us through script builder a little bit, because that was what's the best description? I was going to say a labor of love, but it was a long-term labor of love to get that actually released and available. So, but some people may not know what Script Builder is. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. So yeah, when I first started at Chocolatey, is kind of where it came to be, even though we hadn't seen it until recently. But when I was redoing the website and getting rid of all that brown and beige and beautifulness, I thought of the idea of Script Builder, and that was just a tool that allows you to click through packages and add them to your shopping cart, and then install them in bulk. So you can browse through all of our package pages, and there's a little green button that you can press, and it will add it to your script builder. And then from there, it kind of opens up a flyout, and you can check some options. It gives integration details and how to get those installed on your machine. So that was a work in progress for quite a while. It's something I had kind of on the back burner. It was done, but it was kind of sitting there and maybe needed a few tweaks to push it forward. So I was really happy when we decided to push that out finally. And I think there's some things that we can add to it too, that might make it a little bit better. Definitely still taking ideas on how to improve that too.
I was going on to have a look at which ones it supported. So I know you can get the scripts or the code for Ansible, DSC, PowerShell, Puppet. I was wondering, does it support Chef? I couldn't remember.
I think it does.
Okay, there we go. Let's just see there. Script. So if you go into the community.chocolatey.org and search for packages, you'll see there. So it's got Ansible, Chef, DSC, and Puppet, as well as the generic commands that you would run just straight from Chocolatey itself. And it's a step-by-step sort of wizard that it takes you through, where you can add all of your individual parts, including if you've got an internal repository, it'll allow you to add in that as well. And then at the very end, it will, I'm just going to put one in here. At the very end, it will give you the code that you can use there. So it gets people up and running really quickly, even if they've got a configuration management tool as well as just generic PowerShell, code for the command line that they can put in. It's really awesome, and it does help a lot of people. Yeah, so sorry, I was just looking at it there. Since it's been a while since I've jumped onto the page to actually have a look at products and click things in. I normally just jump on and have a look at whether it's gone through the moderation queue or not. That seems to be my interaction with it. One of the other things I was going to ask, Steph, was, James has asked, how have you been involved in the chocolate community? But something you've produced internally that we've released to the public was Chocolatey. And we were surprised to learn, because it's quite chocolatey specific, that other people are using that as well. And that's, you've been involved in that part of the community with the people that are using that. How did that all come about, Chocolatey, and how did it come about that other people ended up using it?
Well, Chocolatey is the CSS and the JS and kind of the design system that we use behind Chocolatey to ensure that all of our stuff looks the same. So while you're browsing around to other parts of the website, everything's going to have the same colors, the same styles. It's going to be unified and all pulling from one place. So it kind of came about when we decided to kind of split up our websites. We used to just have what is now community.chocolatey.org, which was chocolatey.org. And it was one big website. It had all of our pages, our repository, our docs. It had every single thing on there. And we decided to split those out to different domains. And now we have docs.chocolatey.org. We have community. We have blog. So there was a need for a way to use the same styles and the same JavaScript and the same look and feel. Even comes down to like partials, like things that contain text and images and whatnot. we needed those contained into one place, so that they can be used everywhere. So that I wasn't manually doing the same thing in 5 different places. So that's when I made Chocolatey, and now it's a NPM package, so you can install it with NPM or Yarn, and every time I make a change or do a release on GitHub, it gets updated on NPM. And it's open source, so anyone can download it and use it. But it's what we use for all of our websites, and it's been really great to work on that and to make it better and keep evolving it. And there's definitely more things that I want to do to it, more ways to improve it, and yeah, we'll start to actually see some of those come out here soon. So that's kind of how Chocolatey became.
I
Yeah,
was just
and
looking. Sorry, I was going to say, just looking at it on NPM there just now, and we're at version 0.2.9, and where are we? 370 weekly downloads. So that's pretty awesome. Sorry, James, I interrupted you.
I'm not sure how NPM configures downloads. I don't know if that's really that many people using it, or if that's something I would need to look into more. I'm definitely interested because I've noticed those numbers are kind of high.
At one point, there's on the 23rd of February to the 1st of March, it was 723. So you can go along that little graph that I can see. So that's just weekly downloads. I don't know if you can find out how many total downloads there is, but it's not all of our websites that are pulling that down. So there are people pulling it down to look at it or use it, or whatever. So yeah, it's being used. James, sorry,
I completely lost track of what I was going to say there, but that's okay.
Would have been the most interesting part of this the whole live streams ever. You had
always a great comment on node packages. I mean,
it wasn't the B joke, was it?
It wasn't the B joke.
No, okay.
You're really curious what this joke is. I've heard it twice now. I don't know what the B joke is.
I think once if you'd heard it, it would be a bit of an anticlimax. To be fair. Would it, James?
Yes.
I've only ever heard the end of this joke, so
I'm told that's the best way.
The tractor joke's awesome.
We'll come back to those. I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll come back to this. That might be another stream.
When we've got some time.
Jokes.
Yeah,
that's not a bad idea actually.
I'll just book in a 6-hour stream. It'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll do that. Sorry, we're off on a tangent.
So talking of things you've implemented and whatnot, and things you'd like to do, what's one feature at Chocolatey that you feel is missing and you'd like to see implemented, whatever that may be?
My answer is going to be a little bit different than maybe others because I deal with mostly the website aspect. But I would like to see some cool animations on our web pages. I think Stevie has kind of mentioned this before too, but I don't know. I think there are some cool things we can do with animations and SVG stuff and whatnot that I'm not really familiar with. But I think that might kind of bring some interesting things to our websites.
You don't mean like a 1980s MySpace site, do you?
Maybe.
But it's all no.
I'm not saying we've had at least one conversation around marquees recently in chat, but
marquees are coming back. I mean, not the actual HTML element, but I mean, if you go to any website, you'll probably find a marquee of some type, even though it's not actually a marquee. It's like CSS or something. But
it's without the beige. It'd be fine.
No, I really love SVGs. They have so much power, and it's bizarre because I never think of it. I just think, oh, it's a vector image. That's all you've got, but you can do so much more. So that'll be super neat. Look forward to it.
Cool. What other? We've talked about you being involved, in the chocolate community. What other communities are you involved in, Steph?
Well, recently I've kind of became involved with some local communities here where I live. I've joined a local dev community, and there's a weekly meetup every week where we just kind of work together in a shared space, bounce ideas off each other or get feedback from each other, which has been nice. We also do, I think it's lightning talks every third Friday of the month, which I gave one last month. So that was my actually first talk that I've ever given, which was cool to do. Definitely a jump out of my comfort zone than what I'm normally doing. So, but yeah, I think they've been a community for about 10 years now, but I just now realized that it was a thing. So I'm happy I found that. And then another one that's just starting up in my area is a Wichita Women in Tech group. So there hasn't been much done with that one yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing where that one goes as well. Yeah.
Can we ask what your lightning talk was about?
I gave a talk over Astro Build, which I'm not sure if anyone's really familiar with, but it's a framework that you can use to build static websites. And I find it really nice because I'm able to write HTML and CSS and just vanilla JavaScript and create components and reusable things that I can do. And it's really fast and stuff. So yeah, I gave a talk over that. I might have a video of that soon, but maybe not. It's in limbo right now, so we'll see. But yeah, it was definitely fun giving a talk, and I hope to give some more soon.
Was that your first talk?
It was my first talk.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. There was only like 12 people there, but it was still.
That's more people than some talks I've given. Like one recently, for example. So that was pretty good.
We had at least a half dozen, and that was between the two of us, so we had to share.
It was, we had 3 each, to be fair.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So you were talking about but if it's your first talk, are you looking to do more? Have you got any plans, or are you just going to see how it goes?
I don't have anything planned out right now, but I would maybe be interested in trying to find something. I know there's lots of maybe even not in-person ones, but maybe online stuff. There's lots of online front-end conferences all the times, and even on, I think, meetup.com, there's other events and whatnot that you can sign up for just to give talks and other groups that I can join. So I'd definitely be interested in looking into other ways that I can do talks, or not opposed to in person, but traveling is kind of iffy. So yeah.
Okay. So those are the questions the main questions that we had. But we like to ask a kind of set of common questions in honor of Rich Campbell of Run As Radio. He always asks in a set of questions. We thought I'd ask something similar. So just to kick that off, what is your favorite coding language and why? Scripting, coding, yeah.
I was going to say, if we provoke a war around if HTML is a...
Yeah, I was about to say that, but I'll just leave it.
Sorry.
I'm going to say just plain old vanilla JavaScript is my favorite to write. I find it fun. I think it's fun to see how much you can manipulate, the DOM and do different things, making things work. And it's just, I don't know, I just really enjoy writing just plain JavaScript. I've looked into other frameworks, and I'm not opposed to learning other frameworks, but at the end of the day, everything compiles down to just JavaScript. So I kind of feel like if you know that, then that's a good base for you to have. And it doesn't tie you down to any frameworks, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about updating this, updating that. I mean, yeah, it's
just there and it's yours.
Right. I am right now, I'm learning TypeScript, which I think is going to slowly kind of take over vanilla JavaScript for me, just because it adds in types and checking and makes sure that you're not doing silly things with your code. So yeah, I'm still in the process of learning that, but I think it's TypeScript is definitely going to be my next thing that I like.
Bit of an odd semi follow on from that. Have you ever played any games that involve JavaScript? This is a very nerdy and niche game type of thing.
Not really.
That's fair.
Yeah, I have written like a flip card game and like a tic-tac-toe game, but nothing like crazy.
Oh, that's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you were asking that for a reason, James. I'm now more interested because Steph says she's written a couple of games, but I'm interested in why you asked that.
Just as you were talking about JavaScript, I had this flashback to the last time I think I tried to do it. There's a game called Screeps where you write essentially code to control. It's like you're writing a tiny AI thing. It's interesting, but I don't have the mastery of JavaScript needed to be able to even slightly
to know JavaScript.
Yes, sorry, it's a game you play in JavaScript, if you will.
Okay,
which is a rarity. Most don't do that. But anyway, sorry, that was a weird one. Real question: what IDE do you spend most of your time in, and why do you love or hate it?
Definitely just Visual Studio Code is what I use, and I love that it has all the extensions basically that you can use. There's so many different ones out there, and it's customizable. So I think I change my theme like a lot. Like probably every other week I'm changing my theme up and how it looks, and like you can make your icons look cool or whatnot. So yeah, Visual Studio Code for me. Not so much Visual Studio. I don't really like working in that just because it's so heavy and it's so bogged down. Yeah, but sometimes you just need that too.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like that with themes as well. Oh, a shiny nice one. Oh, there's another one. And next thing you know, you get 18 themes installed and no plugins, no other, but just themes that you just switch between when you feel like it. Yeah, I do that all the time. Okay, so moving on to the next question. This is probably the most important question of the entire stream. So this is Gary's wrong pronunciation of NUPKG, Board of Shame. I'm sure you've seen it. Because of the background, it kind of shows up and doesn't. But what I'll do is I'll ask you, how do you pronounce NUPKG?
So I actually spent like all day thinking about this.
As you should. Of course.
I don't really have, to be honest, I don't have a preference either way how it's pronounced. But if I had to pick a side,
yes,
I would probably say Nupkeg.
That's disappointing. To be fair, that's incredible. Are you sure?
Oh, Gary is on the stream, and I think maybe why is because I probably have interacted with Gary more than anybody, and I've heard him say it so many times. So
he's overtly influenced you, because I think that maybe disqualifies it. To be fair, that's called manipulation, and I'm not sure we allow that. I'm reluctant to write this down. Okay, are you sure?
I'm sure. That's what sounds right. Because you want to pronounce nup, and then it almost sounds like nup kilogram because kg is kilogram, but I'm not. It's kind of silly.
Now, as we said at the beginning of the stream, unfortunately Gary couldn't be here today, but I think I can hear him cheering from wherever he is. It's loud enough. So we've actually got 4-2 now. I don't know if you can see that. Is that going? Yes, 4-2. You can just see it. If I move it up any further, it'll. Yeah. So it's 4-2. Which is incredibly disappointing. To be fair, I'm really not sure what to say, Steph. To be honest. Yeah, maybe move on to the next question. Yeah.
So yeah. I'm not saying that I have influenced the order of questions here on purpose so that I didn't have to ask that one, so I could ask this very exciting one. But what is your favorite chocolatey biscuit or cookie?
Just going with the basic, I would say a hot, chewy chocolate chip cookie, a fresh baked one of those like
Yeah.
big ones.
Yeah,
That's
still
excellent.
just
You get from like the mall or something when you're walking.
that's fair. Do you, and you prefer a chewy one? Because there's obviously the two camps of people: the ones who like a hard biscuit or cookie, and the ones who are correct and like that chewy softness. I think that's
Gotta be chewy. I don't like the crunchy ones.
good shout.
Mhm.
And we've got support from chat there as well, which is nice. Thank you, Chris.
So I mean, there's an extra question in here that I didn't tell you about.
Oh.
How would you pronounce NUPKG? I would just ask that again. Just
You're
making
really
sure.
torn up.
You check your PayPal account first. You may
Yes.
find the answer.
Yes, there'll be a reference on there on how you pronounce it. Okay. Apart from me being gutted, I think that's we've asked those questions. Just where are we? We've got a few minutes. We've got some time left. But kind of to wrap up, we always ask, whoever we're chatting to, what's their favourite memory regarding Chocolatey? So you've been with Chocolatey for quite a while now. So what's your favourite memory regarding Chocolatey? For example, meeting folks in person for the first time, attending a conference, etc.
I thought about this one, and I have a couple. I think first one was probably at Chocolatey Fest, and that's just meeting you and Gary for the first time. And I remember, I think we were walking around in the Bay Area on the pier or something, and it was like freezing outside, and of course I was bundled up, and Gary and Paul are just, it's not cold. So remember that. I think we just walked around the pier, and it was fun being in San Francisco out there at Chocolatey Fest.
That's when we were going to go to Alcatraz, wasn't it? But we tried to plan that because we knew we were going to be, but there was nothing. And we seen the sea lions that were there.
And they were super smelly. And that was the first time. That was the first time I've seen a sea lion. They were loud and smelly.
Yeah. You knew where they were based on the smell, because it just got progressively worse the closer you got to them.
Mm-hmm.
That was quite cool. That was the first time I think we'd met you as well. You were you'd come along. I think you just joined just before that.
Yeah, I was like literally the week before. I think it was my first week.
That's right. And then come along to this event. So that was Chocolatey Fest in, was it 2018? I think it was 2018. Yeah. The first time we'd done that. So that was an awesome event actually. I really enjoyed that wandering around. I got a hat from there. I think I've still got it, because that was San Francisco, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got my San Francisco hat. Still got that one. I bought it there. But yeah, as you said, it was really cold. But we're from Scotland, so myself and Gary said it was like I was actually balmy. That was quite warm. We quite enjoyed that weather. Whereas you were freezing. Okay, James, do you want to ask the last question on the stream?
No pressure.
No.
What does the future look like for you? What are you working on that is related, and what are you working on that is related to Chocolatey? Yeah, that's. I feel like there's two questions. I'm sorry.
There it is. So for me, I'm going to continue learning TypeScript. That's something I'm really interested in, and I hope to get that kind of slowly convert Chocolatey over to using that. Might be kind of a process, but I hope to eventually get it all converted to TypeScript. And then also just improving the design overall. There's some pages of our websites that are pretty old, and I touched them a couple of years ago with the initial redesign, and haven't looked at them since. So there's lots of ways we can improve the design, the content, and everything about them. So I'm looking forward to being able to do that, and we'll actually start seeing some of that really soon. Our 12th birthday is coming up here soon, so you might see something special here before too long.
any beige?
No beige.
No
I was going
beige.
to say,
Okay.
are we going to manage some of those excellent, you know when they had the 2000 glasses for celebrating the year 2000 and they worked because 00 works. We're not going to, I hope we're not going to do any kind of swag based glasses, are we? It's not on the cards.
I don't think that's on the plan. No.
Okay.
We were going to do glasses with burning candles in them, but health and safety said no.
Just the cake.
To that one. Just the cake. And yeah, wearing a cake with some burning, it just wasn't going to work. So we had to scrap that idea. But I thought it was excellent. Okay. I think one last question. How is it you pronounce NUPKG? Interesting.
Nupcake.
I'm just checking. Just checking.
New package
also,
it's too long. It's like it's supposed to be abbreviation, so
I mean, it is very
actually
long.
saying out the whole thing, and it's supposed to be abbreviated. Right?
It is very long, but it's correct. So you
Not
know,
if you ask Google, because an AI, they have different opinions. So
they probably do. To be fair, but as long as that opinion is different from Gary's, I'm okay with it. Whatever opinion they have, Gary can't win. Is basically what this is about. It's not really about. To be honest, it's not really about the correct pronunciation at all. It's just about Gary not winning. So that's. I've given away the secret now, so that's that rude. Okay, so we've asked all the questions. Steph, is there anything you want to kind of tell us about that we haven't asked?
I can think of, other than, I'm excited to ship some new UI stuff soon and continue improving that.
And also keep an eye out for the 12th birthday updates for the best subscription model that we're going to be making very, very soon. So Chocolatey's 12th birthday is coming up next week. And yeah, there'll be some changes that we're making to the site and to our social media presence through that. So keep an eye out for that. So yeah, so just okay. We're going to just kind of wrap up now. So I want to say thank you to Stephanie for coming on today's live stream. It's really appreciated. And it's good to get other members of the Chocolatey team, outside myself and Gary, and James has come on today as well. A big thank you to James for co-hosting it. And thanks to you for watching this today as well. As I said at the beginning, please watch us on, sorry, not watch us, you are watching us on Twitch. So that would be silly for me to ask you to do that. Please follow us on Twitch and subscribe with the bell on YouTube, and you'll get notifications when we stream. And if you give the video a like on YouTube, we will be able to get our content out there to other people. We have a product spotlight stream on the 6th of April at 5 p.m. UTC. And those product spotlight streams are really where we look at recent Chocolatey releases. And in this particular one, we're going to look at upcoming Chocolatey releases and what version 2 of Chocolatey CLI really looks like. And all the other components. We've got Chocolatey License Extension version 6, we've got Chocolatey Agent, Chocolatey Goo, etc. as well. So having a look at what all of those look like. Our next community coffee break is on the 20th of April at 5 p.m. UTC. We don't have a guest lined up for that yet, but we always will let you know through our usual social media, so Twitch, Mastodon, LinkedIn, and Facebook. You can join our social media on any of those platforms, and we will let you know when we're streaming and who the guests will be on our next community coffee break. So, James, Stephanie, anything you want to say before you finish? No? Okay. Do you want to say goodbye to all the lovely viewers?
Bye, lovely viewers.
Thanks for coming.
Take care, and we'll see you all next time.